Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. It is such a beautiful morning. I decided to just come outside. It's pretty outside. It's nice. It's not quite as hot. Yeah, it just got through raining, so it smells really good. I wish I could just share this with you because it smells so good out here. Because everything's still kind of just damp. It's just nice. It's a nice morning. So I just thought I'd come outside. I hope you're having a good morning. I do. I hope you've had some good Bible study this morning. And there's a lot going on. I'm just going to jump in though. How's that sound? I titled today's devotion, Faith is Hard. And I know religious people are going to say, no, it's not. No, it's not. You just trust. But it's not always that easy for me. Maybe you have a little faith button. Maybe you have a trust button. Maybe you have a peace button. And something happens and you just push it and you go, all right, we're good. It really doesn't matter. And there's no emotions involved and there's no worry involved and there's no, did God really hear that prayer involved? Right? And we know he hears us, of course, right? And that is faith, knowing that he hears us even when we don't see or feel. And that's what makes faith hard. Faith is invisible. My emotions, I can feel. I feel fear. I feel happiness. I feel joy. I feel sadness. I feel oh my goshness, right? And but I can't feel faith. I can't feel trusting God, but I do it anyway. And sometimes the hang up is that we can see our circumstances and we can feel our circumstances, but we don't see or feel God specifically in the natural, especially, right? And so I was thinking about that this morning because I was praying about some stuff in my world right now. You know, when your van's wheels just fall off, you can see that, right? I made a video of it. We can replay it over and over. You can see it. We can all see it. But we don't see what God is doing behind the scenes to help me pay for getting that fixed so I get my van back, right? And that in between is where faith lies. And that in between is where piecing out lies. And in between is where trust lies. That's the hard part, y'all. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it, cover it over like it doesn't exist, but that's the hard part. Trusting God is sometimes the hard part because we can't see him with our physical eyes. So I went back to the story of Jesus calming the water in Matthew 14. I looked all through Luke, it wasn't there. In Matthew 14. It says that Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side. That's Matthew 14:22. He put them in that boat and said, go to the other side. He knew there was a storm coming. He sent them into a sea that was fixing to be just crazy, full of turmoil and high waves and wind and rain and lightning and all those really cool parts that you want to watch from a distance when there's a storm out over the ocean or out over the sea, right? I want to watch it from a distance. I don't want it up close. He knew. He knew what was going to happen. He sent them there. It's kind of like he lets us sit here in this earth and he knows it's going to be hard. Especially, we can look at all the scriptures that Paul wrote about how difficult the last days are going to be. And we can read through those and go, he was right, right? And God knew. God didn't say it's always going to just be so easy once you become a Christian. And becoming a Christian in itself is wonderful. It is an amazing experience. It's not even describable by words when you come to know God and then growing in that relationship with him. But becoming a Christian isn't the end all. And it also doesn't mean that bad things don't still happen. If that was it, we would probably just become a Christian and then just go to heaven. If that was all there was to it. God wants to build a relationship. He wants to come. He's going to send us out in that boat so that he can come to us in that storm. He knew what he was going to do. So he sends the disciples out. The storm comes, right? And it says the storm came up. It says the boat was in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves. The wind was contrary. This is the New King James, by the way. In the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them walking on the sea. And y'all, he didn't have a flashlight. He probably didn't even have a lantern. That's why they couldn't see him in the dark. They couldn't see him. They didn't. That's why they were scared, because they were like, it's a ghost. We're all going to die. And it says they cried out. Grown men sitting in a boat crying out in fear. They were really scared. And Matthew wasn't afraid to write it down, right? We were really scared. Because here we are in a boat, in a storm, in the middle of the night, a dark sea, and somebody, something, some entity is walking to us on the water, and they were terrified. Jesus didn't say, don't ever be terrified of your circumstances, but see, they could see. They were terrified by what they could see. They were terrified by what they could feel. They were terrified by their former experiences or stories they'd heard about sailors being wiped away, washed away. They were terrified by what they knew. They didn't know Jesus was going to come walking to them on the water. They were scared, right? And then Peter, or Jesus says, be of good cheer, it's me. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's me. They knew his voice. And yet Peter was like, okay, wait, my adrenaline is through the roof. I could be hallucinating. Even if I'm close to death, this could be a hallucination. So he said, Lord, if it's you, Lord. But he started with Lord, Jesus, if it's you, which lets me know he really was 99% sure it was, but he just needed that last little indication for sure before he jumped out of the boat. Lord, if it's you, command me to come on the water. And Jesus said, come on. Peter hops out of the boat, walks on the water a little ways, and then it says, well, I do want to point this out. There was 11 grown men still sitting in the boat. I think, now this is my imagination this morning. What if when Peter got out of the boat, and I'm taking total liberty here, God is not responsible for this, okay? What if when Peter got out of the boat, the other 11 had said, oh, cool, come on. And they had all jumped out of the boat. They could have encouraged one another. I can just see these grown men playing on the top of the water in the middle of the storm, running to Jesus like little kids. That would have been such a different story. But those 11 men stayed in the boat. And I don't blame them. I have no condemnation because I don't know. I probably would have hid down in the boat and prepared to die myself. Right? I'd have been scared too. No condemnation. Peter jumped out of the boat. But what happened? It says when he saw the wind was boisterous, he became afraid and began to sink because he took his eyes off Jesus. Now, here's where the parallel I want to draw. Peter, we talk a lot about Peter sank because he looked away from Jesus, who he could see, and saw the storm and then went, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Right? Wait, what just happened? And he began to sink. But he could see Jesus. And Jesus didn't condemn him. He did say, you have a little bit of faith. Why did you doubt? Come on. And he just picked him up and put him in the boat. He said, come on, come on. He didn't condemn him and go, you stupid, you just deserve to drown. No, he didn't. He helped him, and when they got in the boat, the wind stopped. But here's my point with this little scene that I let play out in my mind this morning, in my imagination. Imagination is a wonderful thing. Peter could see Jesus, and he sank. And we don't have any condemnation for Peter, because I'm like, I looked at the storm too. We can't see God physically. Now, we do know when he's moving. Sometimes he comes in that still small voice. Sometimes he speaks peace in the storms of our soul. And we get it. We have those supernatural sensations. Maybe we get goosebumps when we know, ooh, God really did something here. Or I know that was God speaking to me or trying to tell me something. We get those sort of things. But Peter could see Jesus and sank. We can't see God. There's no condemnation when we sink. Because we looked away, because we saw the wind, because we went, oh God, I don't know what I'm going to do. And just like Jesus reached out for Peter, he's going to reach out for you. When we go, oh, this is really bad. I sense the emotions. I feel the emotions of losing a friend. And I can't turn and see Jesus standing there to comfort me. That's the faith part. But it's not that easy. It's easy to say, but it's harder to do. And go, God, I know you're going to give me comfort in this. I know you're going to walk with me through this. I know you've got me in the middle of this storm. I know you're here. But Peter could have just looked back at Jesus and seen his physical body standing there and go, oh yeah, we're good. Hold on. I got that. Right? He would have been okay. Maybe. I don't know. It's my imagination, not yours, right? But if he could see Jesus and sank, and we can't see Jesus, there's no condemnation when we lose it. All I know is Jesus is going to reach out and go, I got you. Let's get back in the boat. And the wind is going to stop. He's got us. That's why we can peace out. I hope I said something to encourage you, knowing that faith is hard, but God is still good. He's got us. Just trust Him today. Close your eyes to the storm and trust Him. He's going to pick you up and put you back in the boat. I promise. Have a great day. Peace out. I'll see you again tomorrow.